Dear friends, I promise this will be my very last video message. I guess some of you start hating to see my face, but this video message will be short and it will be important. So let me again briefly introduce myself. My name is Geert van den Bosch, and I got trained in veterinary medicine, have a PhD in virology, and a long-standing career in the vaccine business, worked with several different vaccine companies, as well as with global health organizations. I do understand vaccines, and I do understand all the good vaccines can do, but I also understand all the bad things vaccines can do. And we had an example of the latter over the last few years. And as you may remember, I very early on started opposing the idea of doing mass vaccination during a pandemic of an acute viral infection. This is, in my opinion, a very bad thing, a very bad indication for using vaccines. Another bad indication would be to use vaccines during the incubation phase of a disease. And as you know, I have been warning recently more specifically about the fact that highly vaccinated populations are right now incubating Omicron-derived variants that will be able to overcome the virulence-inhibiting immune mechanism that is currently still protecting COVID-19 vaccinees from severe disease. The question really is who will be at risk and who will not. So I've been revisiting the immunology involved in this complex and complicated pandemic, a pandemic of immune escape variants. And I've come to the following conclusion. Please take a sheet of paper and take note. So people who will not be at risk, or at least not at risk of severe disease. I'm not saying that they could not still contract mild, moderate disease, but certainly not severe disease, or all people who have not been vaccinated. And I've explained this before, why this is. Or people who maybe received a placebo. I'm still having a hard time to believe that this could have been the case, but nevertheless. So all those who were not vaccinated. Secondarily, also all those who only got one single shot of a COVID-19 vaccine, regardless of the type of vaccine. And third, also all those who have experienced SARS-CoV-2 infection prior to vaccination, regardless of the type of infection, whether symptomatic or asymptomatic, regardless of the type of vaccine, mRNA vaccine or non-mRNA vaccine, and also regardless of the number of doses of the vaccine. So on the other hand, those who, in my humble opinion, could be at risk of severe disease caused by this new type of variants that are going or likely to emerge pretty soon, are all those who have received 2 or more shots prior to experiencing a vaccine breakthrough infection. So 2 or more shots of either the mRNA vaccine or non-mRNA vaccine before suffering from a vaccine breakthrough infection. This is will be typically the case, I guess, for those who have been vaccinated early on in the process. So this applies specifically to elderly people in nursery and elderly homes who were the first that got vaccinated. And this risk has essentially to do with the immune phenomenon that I have been describing in detail in my new book, The Inescapable Immune Escape Pandemic. And that phenomenon is called steric immune refocusing. I'm describing in detail this phenomenon that is linked to vaccine breakthrough infections. So I strongly recommend people who fall in this category to make sure they have access to antivirals. Okay, so what will we see in the coming weeks, according to my predictions? What we will see in the coming weeks is still a further increase in acute autoimmune diseases. For example, autoimmune myocarditis, autoimmune diabetes type 1, juvenile diabetes, more than inflammatory organ disease, what we have been seeing in the past. So now we see more and more autoreactive organ disorders. We also see more and more, and that trend will still increase, in my opinion, turbo cancers. So acute cases, accelerated cancer with metastasis, etc. So these excess deaths due to autoreactive immune disorders and cancers will then be followed by a substantial wave of hyperacute COVID-19 disease in highly vaccinated populations. So I expect this to occur late summer, early autumn. So I wanted to share this with you because I think it has important information. And with that, I wish you the best and thank you sincerely for your attention.